everyone, it's Allison with New Little Life. Today I'm going to show you how to make some washable breast pads. Okay, so first you're going to make your pattern. You can use any fabric to do this, and I like mine to be about 5 inches wide and about 5 inches tall. So cut a circle out in anything you want to use as your guide. Next you're going to take your fabric. I'm going to start with a micro fleece that I'm going to try for some, but you can also use flannel, suede cloth, any absorbent fabric that you would like. I usually do 2 to 4 layers at a time because I like to be quick and efficient. Since I'm serging this, I don't have to be real precise on the circle that I'm making, okay? So, wait. Okay, perfect. Good enough for me. And I'm going to throw it in a pile over here. I'm going to do quite a few more of these right now so you can just see. Okay, so here's that pile of absorbent micro fleece that I'm going to use. I also have another layer of terry cloth that I'm going to use in addition to that. You also want to do that with the fabric, the wicking fabric that goes towards your skin, whatever you choose there. And then also some PUL waterproof circles for the outside. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to go ahead and take my PUL fabric, which is a waterproof fabric. This one has a cute print on one side and a slick side on the other. This is the outside. This is the side it goes in. And I'm going to grab my inner absorbent material, which for this one, I'm going to use 2 layers of flannel and 1 layer of terry cloth. This is a looped terry cloth, so you can see those loops on there. This is similar to what you'd see in a bath towel. But it's very absorbent. These are great for heavy leakage. I'm going to go ahead and just sandwich it in there just to kind of spread out the absorbency. That goes on top of the PUL. And then lastly, I always like to put on the inside of mine a suede cloth. This is what they use on the inside of cloth diapers. It's kind of a wicking material. It's soft, but it's going to take the moisture away from your skin. If you do flannel on the inside, it will feel wet and kind of yucky. I don't like the feeling. I like the wicking material for sure. Next, I'm going to go ahead and pin this all together so it's a little bit easier to work with. I definitely prefer to use Wonder clips. Okay. You can use pins, I suppose, but anytime you put holes in this outer layer, the PUL, you are compromising it, so it's got the chance of leaking. Some people still do it anyway and then put it in the dryer on hot to try and seal them up, but these are a great investment. I have not used a pin since I bought these, and I highly recommend Wonder clips. Okay, so you can see I've got this pinned together. The edges are not wonderfully, even, but that's okay. If I was using my sewing machine and zigzagging, I'd probably trim those up and make sure they were real nice before I started. But just with the serger, it's going to cut those off anyway, so I'm not particularly worried about it. All I want to make sure really is that I'm catching the front and the inside, and then also grabbing all the layers when I'm serging. So I only pinned half of, or clipped half of it, as you can see, because I'm going to start right by this top pin. I'm going to insert it like so. Now, the tricky thing about serging circles is you kind of want to trick your serger into thinking that it's sewing a straight line, but really you're serging around in a circle because this isn't designed to move at all. Like a sewing machine, you can kind of turn it a lot easier, but this is a very stiff foot, so you just got to kind of trick it. So what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to go ahead and just kind of cut into it, straight line. I'm not even really touching it there. About an inch maybe, just to kind of get the cut going. You can see I've taken off a chunk of that unevenness. So when you're pulling the fabric through, I always want to push from this side, never pull from this side, because if you pull here, you're going to get some funny cuts, some weird bunching, and it's not going to line up with the edge. So I always try and keep my hands down low right on the bottom. There's going to be a little bit of tension like this as I'm pushing it through. Again, I'm trying to trick the serger into thinking it's sewing a straight line, but I'm guiding this around in a circle. Nice and slow. Don't feel like you need to go quickly at this. I'm going to take it nice and slow, just like a beginner would. Although I usually, okay, can you see how I'm kind of pulling, turning as I go? With the serger, I'm almost always looking at the blade instead of the needle. When I'm sewing, I'm always concentrated on this needle here. But for me, it's much easier to watch the blade so I know where I'm cutting. And then as long as you're not pulling the fabric away back here, it's likely going to sew right along the same line that you're cutting. So I'm more looking at the knife here. I'm kind of aiming for the edge, a little bit inside that inner material. I'm also keeping an eye on the back to make sure I'm catching that backing. I'm not as worried about catching the inner layers because I'm going to catch them, but the front and the back are going to be big eyesores if you don't catch those. Okay, so I'm even one-handing it, but as a beginner, you'll probably want two hands here. But as you can see, it's not too tricky. I'm just kind of turning it as I go. You can see this is that kind of straight piece that I started on. So I'm aiming, I'm going to try and finish up this circle in a nice pretty way. And then I'm going to overlap my serge about 1 inch so that I can make a nice tie off, which I'll show you. So if you can kind of follow the line with me here that I'm going to, I'll try and keep my fingers out of the way so you can see. Okay, so follow my line here. As you can see, I'm not going to finish it here because it would make it a weird teardrop shape. I'm going to come around the edge. Okay, so I'm back to where I started, but I do need that overlap, okay? So at this point, you can either open this up and disengage your blade if you're comfortable with that, and then keep serging. I'm fine with leaving it on and just avoiding the blade. Just don't clip these little threads as you pass them by. I'm going to show you what it looks like to do it with the blade engaged, but if you'd rather disengage the blade at this point, you're welcome to do that too. So as you can see, now I'm aiming right. I'm not cutting this. I'm just overlapping. And then you can go ahead and serge it off. I like to save myself a step and cut it with the blade like that, but feel free to use scissors. Okay, so you can see I overlapped my serge right there, and that's where I ran it off. So there's a lot of different methods. You can leave a longer tail and kind of loop it back through if that's something that you like. I'm not as particular, so I usually just grab a string and pull this tight. It kind of turns into a little knot, and then I just go ahead and clip it off. You can put a little dab of fray check on there if you want, which I in fact think I'm going to do, just to keep that from fraying. Okay, that dries really fast, washes up great, you're not even going to notice. And there's your pad. Okay, you can see I made sure to catch all along the outside. There's that other side of that where I looped it over. Okay, there's that. Visit newlittlelifeblog.com for more tips, tricks, and tutorials and all things on pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and all things for you and your new little life. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any other videos. Happy sewing!